How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Discombobulated. Tonight is going to be a very special edition. We are going to be breaking down the Minnesota Wild, a line by line analysis going on. As always, you are here with your two hosts. My name is Avery Kearney, and I am joined here with
Sawyer Reed.
All right, so we're just going to get right into it tonight. We're just going to break down the Wild line by line, a little bit of a shorter episode for you hockey fans.
Yes, sir.
But before we break down the line-by-line analysis, let's first talk a little bit about the Wild's off-season. Most notably, in my opinion, was the hiring of our new general manager, Bill Guerin, also known as Billy G. Bill Guerin played an impressive 18 seasons in the NHL. Throughout his career, he won 4 Stanley Cups, 2 on the playing side and 2 on the management side. What excites me is that he's a known winner. He is someone that was able to take his winning mentality on the ice and translate it to winning on the management side, where he had won back-to-back Stanley Cups as the Pittsburgh Penguins' assistant general manager. It's just great to see a known winner leading the charge finally. As we know, we did not have a known winner leading the charge back then, and Sawyer's going to break down a little bit about that.
Yeah, dude, it was just a nightmare of a season last go with Paul Fenton, and I could feel it watching, and as a fan and someone who follows the team, that something just wasn't quite right. But people like Michael Russo after the season, kind of breaking down and giving some of the specifics of how bad it was, it was pretty eye opening.
Yeah, you don't think about hockey as like a business. At least I am starting to now.
Mm-hmm.
But before hearing that podcast, you don't realize that Paul had a staff, right? And everyone on that staff's affected by Paul. And if Paul's a piece of work, his staff's going to be a piece of work. Our team's going to be a piece of work.
Mm-hmm. Have their work cut out for him.
Do you know is he like? Obviously, he's a hockey guy, but did he play hockey?
I don't think not at any high level.
So he was.
Not that I'm aware
He's
of.
more
At
of.
least.
He was more of like a sports management business executive type, maybe.
Yeah, which is so striking because he's like very dismissive of his analytic team, and we ended up losing 2 key guys because of their relationship with him.
Yeah, why don't you go a little bit more on that one?
That was just one of many problems where they, our 2 lead stat analysts, I don't have their names in front of me, but got let go. Well, not let go. It was probably a mutual parting of ways because they were sick of him. He was pretty dismissive of any trends or kind of insights they tried to provide. And yeah, I don't know. I'm ready for someone who knows what it's like to win.
Yeah, me too.
As a player, and then having seen how an organization like Pittsburgh operates, I think, and being a part of it, is going to be invaluable to a team like us. We're still more or less in our expansion phase in a lot of ways. We haven't done anything too crazy since we've come into the league. I mean, Jacques Lemaire was probably our most notable member on our staff as far as like
he's a legend.
Legends go, or like winning ways, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so now we've bringing in a guy who I've heard nothing but good stuff about, and what's not to love about him.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
American hero.
He's got one of my favorite quotes I've ever heard, and that's, "It's not hard to be a good guy." And that really resonates with me because that's how I feel about a lot of things.
That's how I feel.
It's not tough to do the right thing or be good most of the time. And as someone who gets that and just kind of knows what it's like to establish a locker room and be a part of a healthy, cohesive one, I think it's going to be awesome, dude.
Yeah, and when they were naming the names of people they were interviewing for the job, Billy Guerin stood out to me right away because he's the name I always heard growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Just as, like, when I first got into hockey, you'd look up the guys like Mike Modano, Bill Guerin. He's one of the guys, especially
the legends.
He's American, I think defenseman, I believe. Could be wrong about that. But yeah, he was just a guy that you knew was very important to U.S. hockey. I know he played for some Olympic teams and stuff like that, and it's cool to see that being a part of the Wild finally.
For sure,
a known winner, and I think it's interesting to think about how an athlete transitions into management. What does that look like? I'm sure it's different for every athlete.
100%.
But man, that's got to be a very hard thing, and it's got to take a certain type of mind to be able to be successful at that. Because I feel like they're pretty different things.
Yeah, for sure. To be like an elite level athlete and sports star, is way different than to be an elite level businessman or, general manager.
Yep, and we finally got that combination. But as you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, we're kind of still in that expansion, and
At least it feels like it.
yeah, I don't think we're gonna feel like we're done with that until Parisi and Suter's contracts are up, because I think that kind of started what we thought was going to be our rebuild, and now it's turning out to be a problem for our rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that could transition us into looking at the first line, our first line for this 2019 hockey season.
Yeah, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so it's going to be Zach Parisi, Eric Stahl, and Matt Zuccarello. I'll start with Zach Parisi. So a little bit on him. Throughout Zach's career, he's played 14 seasons, and he's averaged about 26 goals per season. Last year, he got 28 goals in 74 games. He's a consistent player, and you know exactly what you're going to get when you're talking about Zach Parisi.
Mm-hmm.
I think Zach will continue to cause a lot of trouble for goalies and defensemen in front of the net. That's kind of the player he is. I know a lot of guys, he kind of sneaks around the ice and he gets in the pockets where the puck bounces, and he's so good at that. I always think about the goal he scored in the Olympics to tie the game against Canada in the
like
gold medal game.
Left.
He was just in the right spot, and it was that's one of my favorite hockey memories of all time.
Oh, I remember jumping off the couch for that.
Oh, insane! I remember exactly where I was, exactly who I was with.
I remember waking my dad up.
Yeah.
Jumping off the couch. He had fallen asleep because
Yeah.
it felt like hope was lost. And then
amazing. Yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit bold. I think Zach's gonna put up 30 goals, and I mainly think that has to do with playing with Matt Zuccarello.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm really excited to see what he can do with another dynamic winger out there with him. The only real thing I can say, I mean, you summed him up pretty well. He's got a motor that just never runs out of gas. He's someone I think is really good for our young guys in both his work ethic, his attitude, and just his commitment to playing hard hockey every night.
Great attitude. For sure, great attitude.
But the only thing I can say is we got to have him healthy. Last year was the first one in a couple where he played most of the season, and it's awesome when he does because he's our best player in almost every facet, unless Dubnik's having a really good game or someone else puts up a hat trick or something. But he's our best player, and we rely on him heavy, and I hope he comes through. And I think having another dynamic, shifty, good with the puck winger will really kind of accent his game well this year.
Yep, I totally agree, and we might as well roll right back into the line-by-line analysis. Zuccarello, he's going to be the right winger on that line. He's the Wild's newly acquired Norge, the first Norge to play on the Wild, I believe.
Mm-hmm, I think so.
He adds a new element of speed to this line. Line one, Zucker played on it a little bit last year. But I think this is going to be a consistent line that's going to put up numbers, consistent speed.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we kind of have someone to play that first line role, rather than Zucker. Zucker could go on the second line now. But I suspect Parisi and Zuccarello to buzz around the ice. Unfortunately, though, for Zuccarello, his goal total has steadily went down since his point peak of 61 in 2015-2016 season.
Okay.
And he had 26 goals, 35 assists, so he definitely put up good numbers. But you want to see someone on your team that is trending upwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
He certainly doesn't add size either to the team. He stands at 5'8", about 178 pounds. But I think if he and Parisi can get going from Stahl's passes as the center on that line, I think they could maybe both potentially be 30 goal scorers.
Yeah, dude, I'm really excited. Zuccarello is going to be incredible. There's a lot of good things just off the ice that seem to line up well, I think, for this.
Yeah,
Sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
The first being the thing you touched on, the first Norwegian.
Yeah.
There's deep Norwegian roots in this state.
That's one of the first things I read is he was like, I'm so excited to play here because all the Norwegians are here.
Exactly. The Vikings, our football team is heavily influenced by Norwegian culture. And, I think part of maybe that trend you were talking about with his goal production going down steadily. I mean, he had a pretty turbulent finish in New York and then wound up in Dallas for a little while. Settled into Dallas, had a couple great games to start, and then broke his hand, and then came back for pretty much the playoffs. Yeah. So, I feel like he's been really kind of discombobulated almost.
Yeah.
Going around the league the last little bit and dealing with injuries and stuff, and, hopefully having some time to spend getting acclimated to Minnesota before camp started, having the entire camp here, and then getting to play with someone like Zach Parisi. there's nothing. I can't think of anything wrong with this. I mean, 5 years might come down the road to bite us, but right now I'm thrilled. This is sweet.
Yeah, and do you have any thoughts on the centerman on that line one, Eric Stahl?
I do. I he's a double-edged sword for me. He's like a great leader. He knows hockey well, and he produces when he's on his game. But I see stuff from him that I really, really, really don't like sometimes, and that could have been, last year was a tough year for the team, and so it probably became tough for him to be relied on so heavily as we went down the stretch, and then us not really performing. But I don't know. I see him do stuff like he'll get the puck in the defensive zone near one of the circles, and instead of like passing back to the D and then breaking up the ice, he'll try to wheel around the net by himself, and then we have three guys stuck behind the net, and Stahl has the puck.
Yeah.
And that's something I noticed him doing a lot last year, and knock on wood, that was just the nature of the beast last year. But
yeah,
but he's awesome, dude. He can, when he's on, he's fucking on.
He's on. I see him getting a lot of assists this year. I think he's gonna feed Parisi and Zuccarello pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
He'll win a lot of faceoffs. I don't think he's gonna score a lot of goals though. Hey, I could be wrong. Maybe it's gonna go the opposite. Maybe Zuccarello and Parisi are gonna be setting up Stahl on the the top of the slot as a centerman. But yeah, that's line one. I'm pretty excited about it. Kind of excited as I can be, honestly, about that.
Yeah, for real.
line.
I mean, you don't want to be like classic Minnesota sports fan, like overly optimistic and then get hurt bad in the process. But we got a big body in Stahl, working with two really crafty wingers who really,
wingers.
they don't play the same type of game. They're not in the same areas, but I think their games can complement each other super well.
I think it's going to be a great combo.
Mm-hmm. We have a bona fide first line almost.
Bona fide. It's been a while.
Right?
Hopefully, I mean, we'll see, as I said, the numbers they all put up. But
absolutely,
in theory, I think it's going to work out real nice.
No doubt.
Should we move on to line two?
Yeah, what do we got?
Yeah, so line two is looking like Jason Zucker on the left wing, Mikko Koivu on the center, not on the center, Mikko Koivu as center, and Fiala as the left wing.
Okay. I can get behind that.
Yes, I also can. I like that line a lot. I think we kind of have the same thing going on as line one almost. Is you got speed on the wings, and then you got Koivu in the middle, who is similar to Stahl, I think, playing style wise.
Yeah, I would give you that. He's got that great hockey sense. He's got that face-off just dominance.
Yeah.
He's super defensively responsible. And I think that'll kind of open up, hopefully, some chances for these two wingers who I think, although the skill might not quite be at where our first-line wingers are, the, dynamic abilities of these two guys,
playmaking for sure,
I think is greater. Zucker's speed and Fiala's moves, and we'll get into him a little bit more. But I think this line could really be fun if they get clicking.
Yeah, the speed is there. The centerman's there in the sense that he wins faceoffs all the time. I could see Koivu and Stahl switching around.
I wouldn't mind that too. I
think Koivu centering Parisi and Zuccarello would be just as good as Stahl.
That's a first class line.
That is a real good line.
I think that I wouldn't mind seeing that at some point. And hopefully the lines just buzz right from the start and we don't have to do any shuffling. But if the things just don't quite click right off the bat, I would not mind seeing Koivu get some top line minutes because that's Captain Koivu. He's kind of our guy.
He's coming off a big injury too, so that'll be.
Yeah, I think I don't think we can really overstate how much his loss was felt last year by the team.
For sure.
He only played 48 games last year before he got hurt.
Yep.
At the end of the season, he was still good enough for 7th in scoring on the team.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing.
To
say a lot.
Yeah, it hurts, and
yeah, we did not score a lot last year.
No, we had troubles with that.
We were real low.
So that's our 7th leading scorer. He played over half the games by 5 games, and he was still 7th in scoring. That's not to mention the fact that he wears the C for us.
Yeah.
You know, he's the captain in Minnesota Wild history.
He definitely is.
He's like he's
got
the keys to the kingdom.
We drafted him, and he's been here ever since.
Exactly.
I think this year might be his last year too. I think his contract's up after this year, and then he's coming right out of that knee surgery. I could see him having a real good year, and then kind of retiring on top.
Yeah.
He's definitely getting up there in age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how he looks, because that ACL is a crazy nasty thing, and they're getting a lot better at it surgery wise these days. But I think he's 37.
Yeah.
You know, that's not an easy thing to bounce back from as an anyone, let alone someone who's had a lot of hard miles put on the odometer.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a double-edged sword too, in a sense. It's harder because of his age, but also because he has all that like wear and tear. I think he might maybe recover faster, because his body's used to it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if someone tore their ACL that is just non-athletic at all and doesn't do sports, they're gonna have a lot harder time recovering.
For sure.
And they have a state-of-the-art, facilities and stuff to do that.
Oh yeah.
But for me on this line, I'm looking for Kevin Fiala. Kevin Fiala, I hope he has a breakout season. I mean, when he played in the World Juniors on the Swiss team, they were saying he's the best Swiss-born player they've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy before that, they were saying was Nino Niederreiter, so it's kind of funny how that works. It comes full circle. And the guy we traded Nino for isn't even on the team anymore, but we don't need to talk about that. That's in the past. But I'm looking for Fiala to be the dynamic playmaker that we've seen tiny glimpses of. I remember last year's game against the Predators, his first game back.
Yeah.
Oh, he had 2 filthy goals, and then he hit the crossbar in the shootout.
Yeah, that's right.
Man, those were some good goals, and the things he does with the puck are pretty amazing.
Oh yeah.
But if he doesn't pull that stuff off, he turns over the puck.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping he's going to have more control this year with the puck, but I still want to see that playmaking ability. And as I said, Koivu in the center is going to kind of hold him in place maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Zucker is going to be just flying around with Fiala. So
yeah, I've got a couple different things to say why I'm excited about this line. The first being Jason Zucker. Not last season, but the one before. He finished with 33 tucks for a point total of 64. He was buzzing.
It's good numbers.
Really, really, really solid numbers. Especially considering, he's like a homegrown kind of, we've had him for a long time, developed him, and he's starting to put up numbers.
Yep.
And then last year, a down year. He only finished, well, I can't say only because he was a big part of the team, but he had 21 goals and 42 points, which, was a noticeable downturn from what was a career year the one before, and I think a lot of that has to do with Fenton.
I was just going to say, I think that could be put on management. As we know, they were trying to trade Zucker twice throughout the year.
Yeah, he's posted up on the trading block. Like, how are you supposed to play super well if you don't think the team wants you there?
And a deal came, very close to being made with the Flames on the trade deadline. Very close. I even was seeing tweets that it, was confirmed.
I did, too, and I think it ended up being the Granlund deal instead of him. But one of those two was gone, and I don't know. I think he's awesome. I really like him. He does so many great things off the ice for the community, him and his wife. Carly, they do amazing work.
The Zucker Fund or whatever.
Yeah, they're just awesome.
Or something. They're
awesome. They do really good stuff, and his speed isn't something you can just find or draft.
Oh no.
He wheels, and
man, I remember
above all else, he wheels.
Yeah, a game last year. I forget against who, but I remember he just won. We won the face-off. Pass came to him. He went down on a breakaway and scored right away. First shot. Dusted everyone.
I love it. He's got breakaway speed. He's got, I think, the 2 fastest goals scored in a period in Wild history.
Yeah.
He has not the first, but also the second fastest. He's
speed.
He's awesome. He just he melts ice as he goes. And so I'm looking for a big bounce back year out of him.
Let's go.
Feeling proud to be here and knowing that he's wanted and not riding the trading block. I think that'll be really good for him.
Absolutely. We can move on to line 3, and for me, this is, if I can make a dream Wild line, this would be the line I would make. This is the line I wanted to see last year more. Ryan Donato as the left wing, Luke Cunnin as the center, and then Jordan Greenway as the right wing. And for
the young
guns, and this line is college hockey.
Yeah.
These guys tore it up in college hockey. I actually have some of their numbers, at their respective colleges because they all performed so well in college.
Oh, big time.
Ryan Donato had 104 points in 97 games, and he played at Harvard. Not an easy division at all.
No, they play a tough schedule every year.
Wild amount of points, more points than games. Anytime you see that, it's a good sign, right?
No doubt.
Luke Cunnin had 72 points in his 69 games at the University of Wisconsin. Go Gophers! Those numbers are very good too. He only played 2 years at the University of Wisconsin, but 72 points. That's pretty incredible.
Was he also, I think, one of the first sophomore captains ever named as a Badger?
That is correct. Yep.
Yeah, this guy's a stud, dude.
Definite leader. And then Jordan Greenway had 92 points in 112 games at Boston University, and 92 points is a lot. 112 games, less points than games, but if you kind of consider the kind of player he is, when you look at him, his stature, he's 6'6", 227 pounds. You don't think he's going to be this offensive guy, but in college he really was.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm looking to see this year. Is I want to see Jordan Greenway. I want to see him on the offensive. I want to see him attacking the net. I want to see him sorry to swear, but I want to see that goal he scored in the playoffs against who did we play in the play? The Jets.
Yeah.
It was his first home game as a Wild player. He scored that goal from like the top of the slot, center of the ice.
Beauty.
I got to see more of those snipes.
Hell yeah.
And then just an additional note I had on that line is Cunnin, as Sawyer mentioned to me earlier. He's like coming off of an ACL surgery. That was 2 years ago, but this is his first full summer as like someone that's recovered from that fully.
Yeah, he's not doing rehab. He's not, in there still checking in with the doctor. He's not getting MRIs. He's out on the lake. He's maybe back in Madison. He's having a summer.
He's having a summer's summer.
And he gets to have the whole camp with the boys. So, that's looking around the league. There's been a couple of teams who have, I don't know if they're necessarily distractions, but they've had people kind of holding out or not with the team for the whole camp, that kind of thing. Everyone's been there the whole time for us. We've just been able to play hockey and get to gel and mesh, and there's not a ton of new people coming in, so I think that'll really help.
I saw a picture on Instagram that Luke Cunnin posted, and it was like Cunnin, Greenway, Donato, Eriksson, Fiala, Foligno, a bunch of the guys. They were whitewater rafting.
Oh, no way!
And it was so funny because you think of them as hockey players, right? But in the reality, they're just like they're just goons.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And they're whitewater rafting, and they're all like, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's good to see the camaraderie on that note. As you mentioned, he's had his full camp and stuff with the team, and
yeah, exactly. You get to know the guys, and you build that chemistry that eventually translates to on ice chemistry.
Totally. And yep, this line, I think I see them doing very, very well. I think you could throw Fiala on that line, Donato, Cunnin, Fiala.
Yeah,
that would be cool. You could put Zucker on that line, throw Donato, Koivu, Fiala on the line. You could do a lot of different things. You can mix these lines up very well.
I agree. The third line's almost going to be kind of like a farm team for our top six.
Yeah.
Let's say Cunnin starts going nuts, and maybe Koivu's off to a slow start getting back from the knee. Maybe Cunnin jumps up for a bit and gets some top 6 minutes. I could see that kind of stuff happening. Or
totally.
Donato comes in, he's got 7 goals in his first 10 games.
Yeah.
Put him on the power play or something and let him just
superstar.
rip. I wouldn't be surprised if these guys light it up on the third line and then get to hopefully expand their roles because of it.
I could see Donato being a superstar in this league.
You know what I mean? He's got that shot that just...
it's crazy.
I don't know.
If you want to see...
No one else has it on the team.
Look up Ryan Donato's college highlights on YouTube, and that guy's shot is incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one thing I'd like to say about him, too, is he's one of our rare right-handed shots.
Yep.
A lot of... I think most of our top 6 is all left-handed.
Yeah, which gets a little weird, but also I'd be curious if that's kind of the same deal for every team.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either, but I know obviously playing on your backhand affects how you're going to play, but I think at that level too, dude's backhand, his forehand doesn't even matter.
Yeah, the only thing really that I gripe about it with is you don't have any one side of the ice you really can't set up one-timers on.
Yep. Yeah.
When you have all lefties, and other than that, it's kind of nice because you don't have to worry about I'm used to catching passes here, so that's where I'm going to put it on that guy.
Yeah.
And then he's a righty, so it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It might balance out, but I just wish we could, get some more 1-2s set up, and maybe that's what Donato will end up being.
Yeah, the Ovechkin type shot.
Something like that, dude. He's got a crazy release, and
Yeah, as I'm looking at the. Yeah, we don't have that kind of blast of a shot.
no, and that's something I think our power play really not necessarily struggles with, but would
Definitely
help
help.
so much, and we saw that a lot with Dumbo last year.
Oh, Dumbo.
That right there is the main reason I'm excited for Wild Hockey to come back. Is Matt Dumba is going to be healthy.
Hell yeah.
32 games last year. That guy had 13 goals.
That's pretty wild.
Like that's better than a lot of forwards' pace.
Yeah, he's got the rocket of a shot, and he's fast and he hits.
Exactly. He's a stud, dude. He kind of was almost like Fiala is right now, where he's kind of a riverboat gambler.
Yeah.
In that, like, he's got the stuff, he's got the juice to make a nice play, but sometimes it doesn't work out, and then it ends up in the back of our net.
Yeah, he had the juice in juniors too.
Exactly,
Which is
same with Fiala. They had these
he wrecked,
highly touted.
Dumbo wrecked kids in junior.
Yeah,
he would deck people.
I know, and so he's coming back healthy. I'm stoked for that.
I feel like he's a good morale guy too. He'll get the
oh
guys
yeah,
going.
You see him on social media, like you see him running around. He's dope.
Funny.
He's dope.
Yeah, all right, we'll go to the fourth line. I don't have a whole lot to say about the fourth line.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus Foligno, Joe Eriksson Ek, and Hartman, who's newly acquired by us in the offseason. From what I've read online, Hartman has looked pretty good in the preseason.
I've seen a lot of good tweets about him.
He's kind of like he'll hit everything kind of guy, but he's also more offensive than a guy like Foligno, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
And then Eriksson Ek, I think he's another dude who has such a very high ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
We just gotta start to see it. We see glimpses of it, but
yeah, he'll be on for like 3 games, and you're like, holy smokes.
Yeah, he might just be one of those guys too that are always kind of like that in the league.
Yeah, I really hope it's not that case, but
like maybe like he would tear it up in the AHL, and then he'll be on a fourth line on an NHL team maybe.
Yeah, I know, and it's tough because his game doesn't really lend itself to being super physical. I mean, he's a big kid, but he doesn't play like that, and so I don't know. It'd be nice to see him maybe get a little crafty and kind of shake off some of the other fourth line players he goes against.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely in a good spot to be able to do that on the fourth line.
Yeah, and I don't know. He's one. I have a hard time with him because he kind of represents a lot of the stuff that pains my soul, if you will, with the Wild. Like, he went a pick before Brock Besser.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
He's one of those guys where he was a high draft pick, and we kind of missed.
Yeah, it sucks.
And Minnesota sports are, like, historic for kind of going, like, homer bias with people. And then the one time we didn't, we took a Swede over the kid from Burnsville. Yeah, and then one of them was Rookie of the Year, and the other is now playing on the fourth line, and we're hoping, he can figure his game out a little bit more this year. But
absolutely.
But nonetheless, not a bad fourth line. I mean, Foligno and Hartman will both run around and kind of hit folks, and Ek and Hartman could get some juice going together. They both have the ability to play offense, and so does Foligno. I mean, yeah, no, he's not known for it, but I've seen him make some nice plays. Yeah, for sure. Good fourth line, though, I'd say. Yeah, and a lot of potential. Yeah, I think another reason to be excited about this team is our D is outstanding when they're healthy. Yeah, we got a great defensive core. Exactly. I mean, and they're all locked up right now. Like, they're all in decent contracts. They're going to be here for a long time. They're our core. And our top 4 is insane. You make any combination you want out of Suter, Dumba, Spurgeon, and Brodin, and you're going to have a super viable top 2 pairings. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yep. Suter's like a all-star caliber D-man. Yeah, play like 40 minutes a game. Just a workhorse. Won't get tired. Doesn't make silly mistakes in his own end. Not super helpful offensively, but you know what? He kind of was last year, though, if I remember. He was scoring like weird goals. Yeah. He was like ripping his like weak little wrist shot. His wrister. Right in the back of the net. Yeah, I know. And so, I mean, it's there, but even if it's not, you still get enough out of him on the defensive side of things where it's worth it.
Yeah, he
Maybe
he
not
geeks me
all.
out. It's his face, I don't know.
Yeah,
He's just so like calm demeanor.
that's what I
And
love
then when he
about him.
scores, he like smirks. It's just
I know,
funny.
I love
He's
it.
got a funny little smirk.
I think he's maybe the most like consummate professional we have on the team too.
Oh yeah,
Everything about Suter's awesome. He's
Midwestern
got,
guy. Too.
Oh, right.
Wisconsin's very own.
Yeah, dude, he's just a stud. Like every interview, he gives great, concise, thoughtful answers. Where it's like, oh, he actually answered the question I asked him. It wasn't just like we're cycling, we're trying to get pucks deep. We got to be smart with our passes. You know, he'll like break down plays that happened and be like, we got to cut that out, or like give somebody grief, or like pump somebody's tires. Like
Yeah, Stahl's another guy like that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
so it's Preezy.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if all of them can, you know, stay healthy and we have a good start to the season and everything's rolling well and we're not having to do like the normal thing where we're fighting from behind and then we have a good middle of the year and then taper off. You know, I think if we can just get a solid start and
Yeah, I think that we have a good combination of leaders that have been in the league for a long time, and now we're just starting to get that young core that kind of surrounds the leaders type of thing. We haven't had that for a while, but like I mean that third line that we just talked about, Donato, Cunning, Greenway, those are guys that are going to be those leaders in a few years, and they're going to be learning from guys like Preezy, guys like Zucker, guys from Stahl.
Mm-hmm.
I personally am very optimistic. I think that the Wild will be good eventually, just due to the core. And then I just wanted to mention a few guys we have coming up. Kirill Kaprizov, obviously.
Yes. Inject him into my veins.
Russian legend, as we all know. He actually got a hat trick today. He scored 3 goals in 10 minutes in the KHL. And one goal, he like shot the puck and it bounced off the backboards behind the goalie, and then he caught his own pass and like batted. It was very, very
wow.
Very
I haven't
crazy.
seen that. I gotta look.
And then another guy is Matthew Boldy, who we drafted this past draft. He's at, I believe he's playing for BU, but he was at the United States National Development Team.
Oh, okay.
He's just he's a big, good center.
Nice.
He's been putting up great numbers. He's a really good athlete. He actually didn't start taking hockey that seriously until he was like, I'm going to go to the U.S. National Team kind of thing.
Wow.
Well, obviously he took it seriously, but he
wasn't full-time.
Wasn't planning on going professional hockey.
Yeah, or pursuing it kind of.
Until the United States National Development Team was like, hey, you're actually pretty good.
Yeah, you want to come play for us?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Those are just 2 names at the top of my head that are going to be, because imagine we got Donato, Cunning, Greenway, and then the Russian, Boldy, some of our other drafts. We had a good draft this year. And then I guess we'll just mention our goalie situation. The experts are saying our goalie situation isn't great because it's not. We have Devin Dubnyk, who's a top goalie in the league. Arguably, I still think he is.
If he's having a good year, he's an all-star.
For sure.
You know? Or if the team's having a good year, he's an all-star.
Yep.
It's just when he and the team are doing bad, then it can go south.
Yep, and that goes south fast, as we've learned in the past. And then our backup goalie, Alex Stalock. He's a good guy, good goalie.
Local guy.
Local goalie, South St. Paul, I believe. But he's not reliable to be a starter, and you kind of want a backup goalie that could be a starter type of deal.
Yeah, there's a lot of those instances in the league. We saw it a bunch last year with like the Islanders had that 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
The Hurricanes, they made it all the way to the
Hurricanes
conference final with a sweet
cool
1-2 punch.
On, yeah.
I mean, Dallas has 2 really good goalies. Like, it's not uncommon to see, and you know, some experts are saying that's kind of the way to go for a couple reasons. One, you're number one. Like, if you have a bona fide number one, when you come into the playoffs, he's only played, you know, maybe 50-some games as opposed to, like, high 60s. A little less, a little more tread on the tires coming into the playoffs is a big reason. And then another thing, too, I've heard people say, and I hadn't really thought about it much, but, like, if the guy behind you is just as equipped as you are and playing well, then you have to play really well or he's going to take your spot.
Competition.
You know, and a little healthy
friendly,
competition never hurts, especially when you're competing.
Yeah, and
like as your job.
I think there's like a mental part too that goes on with the goalie.
Yeah, that's
and his
the big
backup.
thing.
It's very mental, but I think if you're having to worry about your backup not doing good, that's just an extra stress that a goalie has on their mind that they don't want to be having. you know, if you're getting sat and your backup's in and you're like, shit, what if they let up 4 goals? And then you're like, you know, I'm going to have to play this game. And you know you need rest. And then that might affect your next game because you thought you needed rest. And it could spiral out of control.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you don't feel like you have a safety net where it's like, I'm sick, you know, I'm not feeling well, got the flu,
Yeah.
whatever, tweaking something, and you're not confident that your backup can come in and win some games, that could definitely spiral a little bit on you.
Spiral. But yeah, that's the little analysis we put together of the Wild. We play Thursday, this upcoming Thursday. I believe that would be the 3rd. Yep, October 3rd. We play the Predators. Go see Granlund again at Nashville. Game 1. Prediction?
Is it here or there?
I think it's there.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Let's look it up.
Okay. If it's there, you know, they're a sick team down there in Nashville. They got a really good squad, but you know what? Either way, I'll take the Wild.
Yeah.
I'm going to say we come out and get at least 3 goals.
3 goals?
I'm saying at least 3 goals. I don't know what the line's at, but
yeah, I don't
I'll take
gamble.
the over.
Yeah, it's at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, that could be tough. I mean, they're going to be rocking. They had a good season last year, and they came out of the first round a little earlier than they and their fans probably wanted. So I wouldn't be surprised if Music City's just buzzing.
Yeah.
But, you know, at the same time, they left last season with a sour taste in their mouth. If we can come in there and get off to a hot start, maybe there's a little bit of residual.
Yeah,
I think. How about you? What are you thinking?
I think that we are gonna win. I think that Cunning's gonna get a goal.
Yeah,
that's all I know.
Okay,
that's all I got for you.
Okay.
I think either Cunning and maybe Zuccarello is gonna get his goal game 1 because I think he's gonna be ready to go.
I would not be surprised in the slightest if Zuccarello comes out and scores in his debut.
Boop. Right in the net.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everybody, thank you for listening. As always, we appreciate you guys. A little bit of updates going on what's going on as far as Discombobulated. We are very close to finishing up the website. We got a Twitter. It's at the Discompod. That's at DISCOMPOD. A lot of our updates are on there. That'll link you directly to our Buzzsprout, and that's kind of where our podcast gets hosted. So we upload our podcast to Buzzsprout, and then through Buzzsprout, we're able to send it to Spotify, which we have done. So you can find the podcast on Spotify.
Yes, sir.
But what you need to do is you need to go to the Buzzsprout link, which you can find on our Twitter, and then you click on Listen to on Spotify, and then you can follow us there. Soon, I think if you search Discombobulated, it's going to pop up on Spotify. But
we'll start showing up.
Yeah, we just got that going today, so I don't think it's in their database or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the wheels are still definitely in motion a little bit, even with that one.
Yep, and then we sent in a request to be put on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, so look out for that. That takes about 2 weeks, so we are going to be basically available on any platform podcasts are available, and then watch out for the website. Me and Sawyer are taking this very seriously. We want to have success in this. We want you guys to join us as a part of the journey, and that's where the website's going to come in. We're going to have a forum and a blog type thing going on. We want Discombobulated worldwide.
Yeah, big time. We're going to do everything we can to give you guys good quality material and content, and we kind of also are going to do everything we can to provide a place for you to interact with that content or even create your own. You know, we've got some cool goals in mind for our website, and I think the forum's probably the biggest. But yeah, we're in the process of securing a domain and putting the finishing touches on our website, and then that'll be coming soon. I think real soon.
Yep, we're just gonna keep making podcasts too, so be on the lookout. Discombobulated. Thanks for checking us out.
Yeah, let us know what you think of these kind of shorter little preview stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this is big stuff. Like, Wild only comes around once a year is the first time, or first game of the year. So if there's things like this or big events that you think would deserve a quick little tune-up, podcast about.
And I watched damn near every Wild game last year, so
yeah, we're excited for it.
I'm excited.
Yeah, let us know what you thought about this preview. Let us know how you think the Wild are gonna do. I'm looking at the camera, picturing some of my buddies watching this who are not Wild fans, and they may have some differences of opinion. So hopefully they let us know if they think we're Muppets about our picks or whatever. But
Muppets.
But I'll tell you what, dude, I'm excited. It's gonna be a good Wild season, I think.
I agree. Go Wild. Thanks for listening. If you made it this far, and we'll be back soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Peace.
See ya.